True or false? Yaya Toure is better than Patrick Vieira.
The question asked. Man City is
a bigger club than Arsenal. Now.
Yes, we are bigger than you.
True or false? Bukayo Saka would walk into the City starting 11. Rock, paper,
do the honors.
Ama nianze?
Uanze juu nitachukua tu ligi.
Oh, sawa, haina shida ati nitachukua ligi.
Wewe anza tu.
Aya. True or false? Man City are now a bigger club than Arsenal. False. False. Yes, I understand that Man City have been dominant over since basically the Arabian takeover, the Qatari takeover. I understand that completely since Sheikh Mansour has been here, and particularly since Pep Guardiola has been at Man City. That's when you guys have really become dominant, right? I mean, you've won 6 league titles in 8 years, but I feel like you still have a long way to go before you're in a position where you can really be considered a global superstar sort of like club, the way Man United is, or the way Arsenal has a global fan base. I'm not saying we are a superstar club. I'm not saying we are a super club. We are not. But in terms of stature, we are likely to sell more than Man City, who struggle to fill their stadia every match day. You guys at one point were even considering trying to reduce the capacity of the Etihad, which says a lot despite your dominance. So yes, I still feel like Man City are, yes, as much as you're dominant, you're still not a bigger club than Arsenal from that perspective yet.
One, you're lying. Because I don't know which survey was posted just a few months ago which showed Manchester City was the most watched club or football team in the last season. Secondly, you've talked about the Etihad. I don't know even why you've not said the empty had, as you always do. We have the highest attendance in the Premier League.
No.
Yes.
In your 55,000 seater capacity stadium.
But not the number of fans, but the, how do I put it? Out of the 54, how many seats are empty or how many seats are occupied?
But you guys struggle to fill your stadium, even you boo the Champions League anthem.
Yes, because UEFA has made it their job to punish us always. But I'll what does the question ask? Man City is
a bigger club than Arsenal.
Now. Yes, we are bigger than you. Because one, in terms of trophies, if you're talking about
we've won 13 league titles. You guys have won
13 league titles.
9,
okay.
I think.
Yeah. But in terms of overall, you are at 31, we are at 27. This season alone, we are going to win 4. So that is going to bring us at par. In terms of the players we attract, because if you put offers to some players, I don't think anyone will choose.
But you guys could be relegated soon. 115 charges
because of the 115 charges. Tell you what, the Premier
success.
The Premier League is trembling. the hearing begins this month. The verdict will be early next season, if I'm not mistaken. But I can tell you for a fact, and this thing is going to be recorded. It is going to last for the longest time. We are not going down. We are not going to be deducted any points. Worst case scenario, we are going to be punished in terms of finances, but not points or any trophies that we've won. So we are a bigger club than you are as at now.
But at least us, we've never bought our success. And so, since we've been promoted to the Premier League back in the 1910s, we've never been relegated. How many times have you guys been relegated? I'm going to be shameless.
We've been to the lowest
of the low. But then you had to buy your success.
So by buying, what do you mean by buying?
You bought your success. Because basically, look at it even this way. Right now, you've set up Manchester City to be a Barca 2.0, where basically you've made sure that even the academy players that you're producing are produced or receive their footballing education the same way Barcelona instill their footballing education into the kids coming through. Right now, you've set up the team in such a way it has to suit the demands of Pep Guardiola. If Pep Guardiola eventually leaves the club,
he will at some point.
And he will leave the club at some point.
Yeah.
What is the succession plan for him? Because basically you have to make sure that you keep producing players the same way, you have to keep playing the same way, because right now you've become a robotic club. Because right now you guys are not flexible. You have to play a certain way. Right? And that's because you bought your success. You even had to bring in the likes of Ferran Soriano, CEO, Tsiki Bergstein, just to suit Pep Guardiola. You get?
They came before Pep, and they've been very instrumental in shaping Manchester City to what it is now. But come to think of it, after Pep Guardiola, there'll be a change. There'll be a shift. Because success is not guaranteed by the style of play that you do. Okay, Barcelona has won not the Premier League. Barcelona has won the La Liga even after Pep Guardiola. They've even won a treble even after Pep Guardiola. Courtesy of Luis Enrique. So that does not mean that we are not going to be successful after Pep Guardiola. All that means, or what is going to happen, there'll be a shift, there'll be a change of style, but the success will be forthcoming. Yeah, that I can guarantee.
For me, I don't think you guys, while you're in the process of getting there, I still feel like you have some way to go before you are fully established as a global brand.
Let's come.
Because right now, I even had to look for fans. There are very countable fans in Kenya. And
you see, you do not limit the number of fans to one country. You cannot limit the number of fans to one country. So let's meet at the end of the season. You are on 31 trophies overall. You are on 27. And I'll remind you, if you're not going to equal the number of trophies you have, you'll have more than that. It's my turn now. True or false? Pep Guardiola would win the league with this Arsenal squad. Well. Okay, I won't say true or false, but I'll first explain why he might not or might, and then I'll decide whether it's a true or a false. I think, as you always put it, and as most football fans know, Pep is a system coach. He has to have a certain set of players, a certain set type of play.
Certain players to
play a certain style. And I think the players who are at Arsenal, what they lack in is the mental fortitude that would take them in a 38-game run, which would eventually crown them as champions. If I look at the Arsenal squad, I think he would lack in one aspect, and that is an X-factor kind of player, a player who will bring, a difference maker, sort of a difference maker. When the games are tight, when you're playing against Real Madrid in the Champions League in the semi-final, the game is 1-1 or maybe the game is 2-2, and you need that player who will settle that game and make it a win for his respective team. I don't see if Arsenal has that kind of player. And another thing, the depth and the quality in depth is one ingredient that plays a big part in Pep's success. Before the season started, he, in a certain press, I think the game before Nottingham, against West Ham, he said he doesn't like to work with a very long squad. But that's a myth, because he likes a squad that has depth in quality. You can look at Manchester City and you see, if you substitute Kevin De Bruyne, you have Bernardo Silva. If you get Rodri, you have Kovacic, who has been very instrumental in filling the... you look at Diaz, you have Stones. At Arsenal, I don't think you have those kind of players. Because, take for example, if Saka is injured or his form has dipped, then who do you bring? I don't think you have a player who will suit the same. You've been playing Kai Havertz as a lone centre forward, or maybe if the position is playing. If you take Kai Havertz out of the Arsenal team, maybe he's injured or his form has dipped. Do you have the same quality in the depth? No, you don't. So in that statement, I think Pep Guardiola would struggle to win the league with the current Arsenal squad.
I actually think most of the players he has are suited to playing his style of play, which that means if he's adapting, he wouldn't take long to adapt at Arsenal. But like you said, we lack a difference maker, and our depth isn't of the required standard, especially if some players get injured, which happens on most occasions and things like that. So I feel like with a fully fit squad, last season we didn't have a lot of problems with injuries. This season it started to affect us. With a fully fit squad, a squad that lost the title by 2 points last season, you may say it's just one game. Maybe you can't tell me that Pep Guardiola would have lost 2 back-to-back games like Arteta did last season. That is West Ham and Fulham, which effectively cost us the title, and not Aston Villa as people were putting it out. Will you tell me that Pep Guardiola would have lost 2 back-to-back games? I've never seen it happen while he's been at my... Yes, he loses one game, wins another, and loses another, but not 2 in a row. So I think it's all relative. So I'll say true, he would win the league with this current Arsenal squad if everyone was fit and available.
Okay.
Yeah. True or false? Yaya Toure is better than Patrick Vieira. Okay, what I'm going to say is, and I know I'll get slack from Arsenal fans for saying this, but Yaya Toure as a footballer is the most complete footballer I've ever seen in my life, where he has no weaknesses whatsoever. So yes, as a footballer, Yaya Toure was better than Patrick Vieira. And that's because Yaya Toure, anytime I analyze him, he's my favorite ever Premier League midfielder, and I've written it out there many a time. He's technically gifted, he has the physicality, he can score goals, he has balance, he really has no significant weakness whatsoever. And there is even that season where he scored like a striker. Like, he can really play anywhere and not look out of place. He played as a centre-back when Barcelona won the treble in 2009, if you remember. Yes. He was even played as a defensive midfielder by Roberto Mancini. Yeah. Pellegrini played him more as an advanced midfielder, and he looked the part in every position he was played in. Patrick Vieira was a box-to-box midfielder. Yes, he's a legend. Yes, he had goals in him. Yes, he was an engineer. Yes, he would win balls. And he's going to be one of the all-time greats. But people don't give Yaya Toure as a footballer the respect that he deserves, probably because of the fact that he was controversial, or the fact he was always crying when a cake wasn't given to him and things like that. But as a footballer, yes, I'd say Yaya Toure was better than Patrick Vieira.
Well, I don't want to look past here because I've watched both play. And as you've rightly put it, Yaya Toure had no significant weaknesses. Yeah. I'll take you back to the 2013-2014 season, where we all thought he was going to win the Premier League Player of the Year because he had scored, I don't know,
23 goals.
23 goals. Yeah. Out of the 23, I think 7 of them were free kicks, direct free kicks. And there is a very interesting stat about Yaya Toure. He's never failed to score a penalty in his entire career. I think I'm just going to repeat what you've said. In terms of dribbling technique, be it free kick, corner, left foot, right foot, the dribbling, everything. He was almost perfect. But Patrick Vieira as well has a very big shout because he was very instrumental in whatever Arsenal achieved during that era. You can remember the battles and the feuds that they had with Roy Keane. And I think were it not for him, if he was not the linchpin of the Arsenal midfield, Arsenal wouldn't have been as dominant as they were during the years which is he played there. But I don't know, is it a true or a false?
It has to be true. Like, I'm an Arsenal fan myself. I'm
has to
telling you,
be.
and I'm admitting it has to be true.
Yeah, Toure.
Tukubali tu.
Yeah, Toure. Patrick Vieira. But to settle that, I think Yaya Toure was also clutch. Because remember, the goal that is much termed as the one that brought the paradigm shift from Manchester United to Manchester City, the semi-final of the FA Cup,
the FA Cup.
is the guy that scored that goal. You can also remember the 2014 FA Cup final against Sunderland. He scored a goal. Carabao Cup, sorry for that.
Yeah.
And he scored a couple of goals in the Champions League deciders. So I think we are going to agree on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's my turn. The producer should try writing jokes for one of the leading newspapers. True or false? Arsenal will beat Man City to the title. Do you even believe that? Should we start there? Do you even believe Arsenal will beat Man City to the title?
This season?
Yeah.
No, they won't.
You're struggling to find it.
No, they won't. Let me first explain it.
Yeah, please go.
I feel like Arsenal will win a trophy this season, be it a domestic cup, most likely a domestic cup. But I feel like Arsenal's lack of a difference maker, especially with regards to maybe a Kevin De Bruyne type who can just produce nothing out of something when the system isn't bailing you out, or lacking that clinical finisher. Okay, I think it's a myth that you need a clinical finisher, but right now you guys have Haaland. Haaland has already scored 8 goals in 3 matches. Those who didn't have him on FPL are already weeping their tears, crying and stuff like that. But I feel like Man City will still win the league by a few points, like it has been the last couple of seasons, and that's because of that factor. So, and the fact that it's supposedly supposed to be Pep Guardiola's last season, so he wants to leave with a high hurrah. So I feel, as much as it's going to pain me to say this, I feel like Arsenal, yes, can win a trophy this season. I believe they will win a trophy this season, but it just won't be the league. I'm sorry, as much as it pains me, New Coel.
No, I don't think Arsenal will beat us to the league title. I'll try and analyze both teams. One, Arsenal strengthened almost every other position other than the center forward position, which I think, as you can see, or as it has been evident in the first 3 games, you can see there's a very big difference between Arsenal and Manchester City in terms of goal scoring. Haaland alone, as you've put it, he scored 8 goals in 3 games. He already has 2 hat-tricks. So Arsenal, yes, they've scored goals, but they have struggled because you look at the game against Brighton, the red card notwithstanding, you could tell Arsenal are right now look like a transitional team. The beauty that Arsenal used to play football with is not there anymore. So it's transitional. But for you to be a transitional team, you need to be playing a team with low block or maybe a mid block. You're not going to play those kind of teams during the entire season. No, you won't. But Manchester City we are balanced in every other position. Ederson wanted to leave. There were talks that he would join Saudi club, but he did not leave. The defense is very much uptight as it was last season. The Gundogan has come back. Is going to add quality into that midfield. You've watched Nunes in the past couple of games. He's been good. For someone who doesn't get so much minutes. The position that maybe most people think that will be Manchester City's downfall is Julian Alvarez leaving. But I'll tell them that Gundogan coming back, he was brought specifically for those moments. Gundogan won't give you, won't entertain you in the first half of the season, but come March, April, May, that is where Gundogan comes in. If Haaland gets injured, Pep, I'm sure, will revert to the false nine where he can play Bernardo Silva, he can play Kevin De Bruyne, he can play Gundogan. So for those reasons, I don't think Arsenal are going to beat Manchester City to the Premier League this season.
This is actually the last
That's
one.
the last. Let's see.
Save best for last, they say.
Yeah. Tell us, what's it?
True or false? Bukayo Saka would walk into the City starting 11.
Walk.
Walk. Hey, I don't think so. I don't
Walk.
think so. He would be an important player, especially in terms of as a squad player, because Pep is always rotating and he needs different options for different game states. Yes, but I think Bukayo Saka will rock the bench more often at Manchester City. Yes, he'd play a lot, but I don't think he'd play consistently, because think about it. If the likes of Riyad Mahrez and Leroy Sané, who in my opinion were much more exciting and had more competition about them than Bukayo Saka, weren't constantly getting into the team week in, week out. What about right now? I don't think Bukayo Saka will walk into the lineup, especially now with the exciting Savio who's now come on board. Yes, Jeremy Doku is easy to displace. Yes, Doku is a speedster, and yes, he's very good 1v1, but his decision making is appalling, and that's why I think he's reached his ceiling. But this Savio kid is really exciting. I watched him last season at Girona. He was one of the reasons Girona actually overachieved last season. Yes. And right now, you can see already he's come to Man City. Already he's giving you that dynamic from the 17 to 19 season, where basically your wing play was so integral to how you played, especially Sané and Sterling, who are stretching the play and creating space for Silva and KDB to do their magic, and the fact that they were creating space for Aguero to score goals for fun, scoring hat-tricks against Stars and Chelsea when they beat them 6-0. Yeah. So you see, right now I feel like you're getting back to that moment. Like I was telling you over the last 2 years, that as much as Man City, yes, you're still dominating, you lacked that. One significant weakness was the fact that you didn't have an out-and-out pacey winger that could make a difference. Right now, Savio is there. Yeah. So I personally think Savio and Saka will share minutes if they were together at the team, but I don't think Saka would walk in the starting lineup and start week in, week out. I actually think that as much as I'm an Arsenal fans and Arsenal fans like him, love him, that Saka is a cultured system player. Like he's the type who obeys his instructions, but I don't think he's very predictable in the sense that he'll cut inside and try and whip up across the back post or score goals the exact same way that Robben used to do. But the only difference is Robben used to have a different dimension to that cutting inside. He always had different ways of doing it, and it was difficult to stop. Whereas with Saka, it's different, and Savio gives you that. Savio is actually more dynamic. So I don't think Saka will walk into the City starting 11, in my opinion. He will play regularly, but not start week in, week out.
What you said is very much correct, but I'd love to think, as a City fan, I don't think there's even a permanent starter in Pep Guardiola's team, other than Ederson, because the number of times Ederson didn't play last season was because he was out injured. I think he's the only person who is a guaranteed starter in Pep's team, and the other guy who is growing into it is Rodri. All the rest are very much dispensable, come to think of it. Even Kevin De Bruyne, we won the league without much significance play from Kevin De Bruyne in the 2018-2019 season, where Bernardo Silva assumed that role.
Actually, I'd actually think Bernardo Silva is the only outfielder that is indispensable.
Yeah, because he's very dynamic. He can play on the right, left, a false nine, holding midfielder. He even played at left back sometimes. Actually, playing
That
against
season,
you guys.
exactly.
So I think much as Saka is as good as Arsenal fans put him to be, I don't think he would walk into that City team because if you watch City week in, week out, you realize no one, especially the forward players, no one plays a specific position for the entire 90 minutes. Is Saka capable of moving to the left? Is Saka capable of playing false 9 for 10 or so minutes in the game? I don't think so. It is the reason Cole Palmer had to leave, because Cole Palmer wasn't satisfied with being asked to play on the left, wasn't comfortable with being asked to defend or to press, but he's found his mojo back at Chelsea.
Exactly.
But from the style of play of Saka and how Pep sets up his teams, I think at best he'd be a regular, but he wouldn't walk into that. He wouldn't be a key player or walk into that team. So I don't think it's true. We are done.
We are done.
And we are winning the league.
Yeah.
Manchester United.